Hey guys, it's Jess again. And today we have our first ever Pokemon video. So, for those who don't know, I have been picking up the Pokemon TCG pretty heavily recently. I want to say I've been playing about 3 to 4 hours a day for the past 2 weeks, and I've been enjoying it a ton. So, today's video is gonna be my introduction into the Pokemon TCG. We're gonna have some coaching with one of the top players in the game. We are finally gonna go to a locals and complete our decks, as well as show anyone who doesn't know how to play the game, and have a couple of games to round off. That being said, I've been having a ton of fun, so let's go get some cards. Obviously, I ordered most of my cards online, and sadly, one order with a bunch of staples went missing. Now, when I was trying to initially get cards, I did reach out to a local Pokemon store, but they said that, yeah, you need so many cards, it's probably just better to get it online because we won't have everything. However, because I now only need a couple more staples, they said they have everything that we need, so we're gonna go and pick them up. Also, while we're at it, I bought a table. There's nothing fancy, it is just a standard IKEA bamboo table, but it gives us somewhere that we can play card games. Because before, the table we were using was pretty small, you had to sit on the floor to be able to play, and playmats didn't really fit on it. So cards were everywhere, and it was a lot harder to understand the game state, especially from like a viewer's perspective. But before we can play, we need cards, so let's go get them. Right, I've stopped by the local park because I went and got the cards. I have the cards right here, everything I was missing. I didn't want to just go to a store and like interact with people for the first time though, and then just have a camera. And same when I play locals. I don't want to just have a camera in people's faces when I'm introducing myself to a community. So I kept it off camera. Everyone was really nice. Got the cards we needed. I have been waiting every single morning. I have been checking the post, hoping that our missing order arrives, and then being heartbroken when it doesn't every single time. So I'm really, really happy, even though they're just common penny cards, that I finally have everything to play the deck. So let's get back and I'll show you guys what I have been playing. So this is my deck. It is Dragapult Dusknoir. I also have the stuff for regular Dragapult on its own, but I've been enjoying the Dusknoir build. This list is incredibly standard. It is heavily inspired by the second place list from the Pokemon World Championships. There's only one change to that list in this deck. One big thing with me is, obviously with decks like Plant, I really enjoy interesting decks and rogue decks. But when it comes to learning a new game, I kind of want to have something that is very bread and butter, standard list, and then I can learn the intricacies of the game, learn the intricacies of the format, and then deck build from there. For anyone who's curious, we have the 3 Dragapult, the 4 Dragloak, the 4 Dreepy, the 2 Duskull, 2 Clops, Noir, 2 Badoo as our kind of stall guy, Latias, Pheasantipity, Ursulana, Monkey Dory, and Hawlucha for our Mons. As for the rest of the list, 4 Iono, 4 Research, 2 Hilda, 2 Bosses, and 1 Brock Scouting. This is the only change to this deck list I have made, and he is nice and shiny in full art. I preferred having Brock Scouting over 1 copy of Nestball just because it's a lot more versatile. We also just have 4 Poffins, 4 Ultra Balls, 4 Night Stretchers, 3 Counter Catchers, 2 Jamming Towers, and a bunch of energy. There is nothing exciting about this deck list. Of course, it's nice to see it laid out. This is what you're going to be seeing me play in this video. So I wanted to lay it out a little bit. But as I said, you learn the intricacies of the game first, and then you learn to deck build afterwards. So I haven't really dipped my toes into deck building because deck building comes later. Despite only just getting all of the physical cards, I have still been playing the game a lot online, on the official Pokemon simulator, Pokemon TCG Live. One thing that I am pretty excited for is having a coaching session with Azul, one of Pokemon's top players with the most regional wins ever. We're going to get to that in a minute, because I know that not all of my audience are Pokemon players. So, now that we have a deck, how do we play? I'm going to keep this summary pretty brief for those who don't know how to play. If you're interested and want to learn the game a little bit more comprehensively, there are plenty of better resources online. This is just going to be enough that you can follow along with the game during the video. So, to start, we draw 7 cards. We are looking for any Pokemon that has the basic symbol in the top left-hand corner of the card, because that means we can just put them into play, or on our bench. You can have 5 Pokemon on your bench, 1 in play, basically the same as a party in a regular Pokemon game. And then once players have done that, as long as there's no mulligans, because players don't have a basic, we put 6 cards on the side of our mat. If you go down to 0 prizes, you win the game. How do you take a prize? By knocking out your opponent's Pokemon. Regular Pokemon, you get to take 1 prize card every time you knock one out, and EX Pokemon, or bigger Pokemon, you will get to take 2 and sometimes even 3, depending on the type of the card. So, we're gonna rock, paper, scissors. I win. I'm gonna choose to go first. So, start the game, we flip our Pokemon face up, and you do draw for turn. Now, there are a couple actions you can do. During the first turn, you are not allowed to use any supporter cards. So this turn, I'm going to use an item, which is Buddy Buddy Poffin. That'll put some cards onto my bench. I'm going to go for a Dreepy and a Duskull. Then I can attach an energy from my hand. So I'm going to attach my special energy onto my Dreepy. And then I'm going to end my turn. My opponent can then draw, and my opponent has the exact same options that I did, plus being able to use a supporter such as Arven, which will then just search for more cards. In Pokemon, there typically isn't as much interaction on the opponent's turn, compared to games like Yu-Gi-Oh! That I'm used to. But the skill and the difficulty in Pokemon comes from trying to play around what your opponent could potentially have. For example, if I was playing this match normally and wasn't just trying to showcase, I would always be choosing to go second. My deck particularly has a Pokemon called the Dew that stops your opponent from using item cards when you go second. We can see my opponent going for their setup play. They're going to bring a Joltik into the active spot and then use the attack of Joltik, which doesn't do any damage but puts energy on Pokemon. Energy is these little things, or what I put under my Dreepy last turn, and these power your Pokemon's attacks. Your Pokemon will have little requirements next to each of their attacks, and you need that amount of energy to be able to use the attack. So my opponent is tapped, so I draw. And now, the last thing I want to go over is evolving. You can't evolve Pokemon on the same turn that you put them into play, but when you do evolve them, you just place the evolution on top of your basic Pokemon. Or you can put your stage 2 Pokemon on top of your stage 1 Pokemon. From there, you just have to kind of read the cards, and you are taking prizes, and the first player who gets to 0 wins the game. So now that we've gone over the basics, how do pro players think? How do pro players play? This is something that I'm quite interested in, especially as someone who's coming from the high levels of Yu-Gi-Oh! I want to know how differently Pokemon players think, and how I can adapt my mentality. One of the big things when learning a new TCG is I don't want to put myself into bad habits, or put myself in the wrong direction by using thought processes I'd use in Yu-Gi-Oh! Which don't actually apply to Pokemon. So let's find out. Hello?
All right, how's it going? I guess the first thing I would start with is, I mean, you've been playing a decent amount of Pokemon recently, right?
Yeah. I've been playing multiple hours a day for the last 2 weeks-ish.
Yeah, so I assume you have like a decent card pool knowledge and everything like that, right?
I'd say I have a pretty complete knowledge. I've played a little bit of every single meta deck. Majority played Dragapult. A little bit of Eevee Box for fun, but I've 99% just played Dragapult.
I guess we could just like jump into a game initially so I can like kind of get a gauge for like where you are currently in terms of like your thought processes.
Okay, we'll just go this. We always go to Dreepy.
Yep.
And then we just put energy on Dreepy Pass. Oh wait, no, we go Hilda.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to Hilda her.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna price check quickly.
Yeah, go for it. So the thing is,
okay, I'll focus back in.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll focus back in on actual card games.
Yeah, the question is what energy do you grab? Basic energy or the Neo upper energy? Because we're about to attach a Luminous.
I don't think I grabbed the Neo yet, because the thing is, you're gonna get Baby Bolt to start sniping next turn.
I kind of do lean towards just taking the Neo upper now, because you could just sit on this hand and like fez a bunch of times. I guess maybe you'd Iono before then though. Yeah, I think you're right. I think we probably won't put the Neo upper in play before we play like an Iono. So probably go with the basic energy. Yeah, I guess we'd want to be able to go like Counter Catcher, Noctowl, attach, and then see if I have the retreat plus the Baby Bolt attack.
Is it even worth putting an energy on the Dreepy here? Because I know that I'm just gonna get Raging Bolted on Dreepy anyway.
Honestly, that's a decent question. I'm always KOing a Dreepy no matter what. So honestly, I think you're maybe right. I think, yeah, probably just, yeah, because I'm always KOing Dreepy here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, first I was thinking we're definitely going to attach, but that's definitely a good point. And I guess actually, I have second Noctowl in hand, so Ionoing as soon as possible would be pretty good.
So that just means going Fez and just try and dig into it.
Fez first, see what we draw.
Because ideally I'd like to get a Puffin. I know one's prized. I think I go Luminous on Gloak because I know that my win con to gaining a lot of momentum here is going to be you getting stuck into the Noctowl for a turn.
The only question would be like, do you know I can remove this Noctowl for sure or not? All you saw me do was last turn was Crispin for 2 energy, and I put those 2 energy in play. And the Boss Owl.
Bosses. There's no point benching anything, so we just hit.
Yep.
Because it's too early for me to want to risk putting an Ursaluna in play.
And that is sometimes like these kind of matchups, Ursaluna is sometimes our first attacker. Like if we can just never establish a Dragapult, we can just go like pop Dusclops or Dusknoir and then attack with Ursaluna plus Iono.
Okay, so I think my hand is actually in an okay position here.
Is there a play we want to find besides just Badoo the active? And then I
think we still go Clops, Dreepy, and then Iono, then Fez.
Just hold the energy.
Yeah, because if we are trying to set up I feel like setting up the Ursaluna is going to be very important to get it on an early attack.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, hold the energy. No, that's fine. Yeah, if we find Counter Catcher, that's cool. We can Counter Catcher the Noctowl, but if not, yeah.
Okay, that's triple pull.
Sorry, let's start the Fez. We got the Counter Catcher. That's a big one.
We also got Night Scratcher, which is access to another Gloak.
Yeah, so Counter Catcher Owl, try and trap it, and then play the Jamming Tower to take away options of me benching more stuff.
And now we just Itchy Pollen. There's no point using Clops here. There's no point benching Glacias for no reason. Because if you're going to drag something up, you'll drag up like Gloak, probably. If I can keep the Gloak, I'm going to be digging for Neo Upper. Otherwise... Okay, you do play 2 Crispin.
I was actually stuck until I top decked the Noctowl there. So it was actually looking pretty bad.
Because now having access to the... I know you're going to get Fez draws, but having access to the kill on the Raging Bolt with Noir is kind of nice for guaranteeing setup of the Dreepy.
Yeah, so now like, this would have to be like a turn where I'm curious, like what do you think is the play here? Like what do you want to actually try and do this turn? Like we have these cards in hand, based on what we could get access to, what are we like playing towards, do you think?
So I'm 100% sure that we're going for an Ursaluna play. I'm pretty sure we're going for Ursaluna. I know you said typically we don't take major knockouts. I think knocking out Raging Bolt with Noir and then knocking out the Fez. And then if I can get to a Jamming Tower, that would be great because then that puts you on no bench space. Yep. That would be like dream scenario, I think.
Yeah, all right, that sounds pretty good to me. So then how would you sequence for that play? Like the current hand? Like how would you sequence out the current actions we have available? Oh, I guess that's a question as well. Yeah, how much do you value Iono versus Research here? Because you saw I went Draw for turn. I played Noctowl out of hand. Played both cards I got off Noctowl, and that's all I did.
I don't really want to shuffle back your hand.
Well, remember you were Badooing me, so my hand could be pretty high value. It's hard to
true.
get. It's hard to get a read on that, right? There's one more factor we can add into the possibility of Iono, right? Because we can pop Dusknoir for Iono. Because if you pop Dusknoir, you're going to give me a 5th card. But if you pop Dusknoir and then Iono me, I go from 5 cards to 2 cards.
I feel like I need the cards because the problem is I am getting the Fez draws. I haven't gone through any Ultra Balls yet. Realistically, I need Ultra Ball plus energy.
It's like an important thing in Pokemon as well is knowing when the goal is not to draw prize cards this turn. The goal is to win the game, right? So we want to make the play that we think gives us not the highest chance of drawing prize cards this turn or even executing the game plan this turn. Or the game plan this turn is KO Baby Ball with Dusknoir and counter catcher KO Fez. That's the game plan this turn. Playing research gives us the highest odds of executing that game plan. But we want to ask ourselves is what do we think gives us the highest odds of winning the game? Play the research, then pop the Nor. I have a 5-card hand going into my turn with access to a Hoot and Mew. If you pop the Nor then play Iono, you lower your odds of seeing the play for turn, but you reduce my hand from a 5-card hand to a 2-card hand. And you can't really gauge the value of my hand very well, right? Because you Badooed me last turn. It's really hard to tell how good my hand is right now. My hand could be very good or very bad. But one thing we do know is 2 cards is less than 5, so we should assume on average my hand will be worse if we Iono. So we have to gauge the value of how much value do we put in increasing our odds of getting the play versus reducing my hand size. And then the big thing with this would be like if I go return knockout here, I just win the game, right? If you pop the Nor, I draw a prize. So if I return KO your Ursula and I literally just win the game, right?
Realistically, you haven't gone through any copies of Ultra Ball yet. You have 3 prizes left. You likely at least one of those cards in hand is an Ultra Ball to get to a Noctowl, so I just want to reduce cards in hand. Yeah, which means I go Noir, pop the ball, and then just Iono.
Yeah, I think so.
Fez.
Yeah, so it feels worse because we're not maximizing our odds to execute our game plan, but we always have to keep winning the game in mind.
I also don't particularly just want to pitch triple Dragapult off research, especially that just doesn't feel good.
Definitely not. Yeah, the triple Dragapult's kind of funny.
So if there's still 3 Gloaks in deck, I think it's always Ursaluna.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that always makes sense.
Because we also have 3 Ultra Balls.
Yeah, direct it first, find the counter catcher, ideally, and then pop him for the Duskull. Okay, a little bit short.
Okay, so are there any win cons for me here? I think it's just lock you into Badoo. I kind of want to have the chance to top deck into a Pult here, because I don't have access to it otherwise, so I do want to shuffle the deck. So I do want to pop in for Duskull. Okay,
yeah, sounds good to me. Yeah, that was the question I was going to put forth, is do we want to shuffle the deck? And yeah, I think the option of Dragapult sounds pretty good.
And then we have to put Loomis on Gloat, because we don't have access to Upper Neo right now. And I would just now I'm just hoping that you can't get the Noctowl out of active.
Which I don't think I'll be able. Well, actually, let me see. I got Fez Draw here. Actually, but even if I can move it, I have to be able to have something to attack with. So,
okay. So
that was pretty good.
Now I'm in a much better position because I just need to get into a counter catcher here. Still Gloat. What can we get me for next turn?
Oh, I guess we can bench a Streepy as well. I forgot we got access to. I always forget that happens. We can get access. I think you can bench the Streepy, right? May as well. It gives us +1 out to a Dracloak.
Yeah, because we didn't try bench it last time because we didn't necessarily have access to the Pult. And then we just bring up the Fez, retreat into the Gloat, and we're just setting up for big prize. So it's 1 on Noctowl, 2 on Hoot.
It has to be 1 more, right? Because we're gonna have to commit 1 damage to the Fez next turn. So it has to be 2 on Noctowl, 3 on Hoot to threaten them. Right?
Oh, because we're putting into range so that Dusclops can kill that many on the bench next turn. Okay, yeah, got it. Because I have Scouting in hand, which also I also did underestimate the fact that I have Scouting.
I gotta get Sada for sure, and then.
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's one. No, I don't think there's any other play. Unless there was a play. If you Badooed for 1 more. No, there's no other play. Yeah, you always just go all in here, and then you hope I don't have the response.
I mean, it was like it's still a multiple card combo with not that many cards in hand, so.
Yeah, just hope I get the owl.
So that was intense. In total, that coaching session lasted for about 5 hours. 4.5 hours of gameplay and 30 minutes of me just grilling him with questions. I want to say that it went really well. Honestly, there was a lot more depth than I initially expected, which is a good thing. I love detailed, difficult plays. That's kind of what I enjoy. I also found out a key bit of information that innovative deck building gets rewarded in Pokemon, which is exactly what I wanted to hear because, as we maybe know from plants, I love messing around with deck building. That being said, Pokemon is definitely not an easy game.
Whatever dumbass Yu-Gi-Oh players say Pokemon is easy are on something.
But I still took games, so I'm happy. That being said, I want to put this to practice. Let's go play some matches in real life and see if it translates.
And we are off. New set table, new setup, new game. Now, I've won the dice roll and chosen to go second, a pretty common thing in Pokemon. I set up 2 basic Pokemon, use Professor's Research, discard my hand, draw 7, attach an energy and pass. Not an ideal start. My opponent also wanted to go second, but now they can attack, are attaching energy with the Joltik and passing back to me. So they are set up and ready, and how do I respond? I respond with a scouting to get access to more basics for the grind game. I'm not perfectly set up, but I'm in a pretty good position, because now on this turn, my Draglope evolved last turn, and I can immediately go into that Dragapult, threatening for a big hit onto both of those Iron Hands. I use Counter Catcher to bring up the Iron Hands with less energy on it, before drawing more cards with Fezandipity, and searching my deck a little bit more with double Draglope, and then I go for the Dragapult swing, putting damage across my opponent's entire bench, and setting up for a kill next turn. My opponent starts with an Ursalana, attaches some energy to it, trying to set up for the grind game, and then just attacks with Iron Hands, doesn't have that boss's orders, which means I'm now threatening, if I can get to a Counter Catcher or my own boss's orders, the knockout on both of those Iron Hands, removing most of the energy from my opponent's field. Now, I am digging hard with those Draglokes here, and I do get the Counter Catcher. This is going to give me the knockout on both of those Iron Hands, and set up the Ursalana so that I can just attack it for game next turn. My opponent then brings up the Ursalana, kills my Dragapult back, but I can just bring up my Ursalana, attach an energy, and attack for game. Since that coaching session, I have played in my first ever Pokemon Locals. Now, it was best of 1, not best of 3, which was a bit weird for me because I don't think I've ever entered a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament and it'd be best of 1, but I went 3-1. Which, for my first ever locals in an unfamiliar place, I'm not mad at. I did take my Dragapult deck that I showed off earlier in the video, and yeah, it was fun. As for events, I'm definitely looking at going to Birmingham Regionals in January, and most likely EUIC, or the European International Championships, which is going to be London in February of next year. I am still very tempted to go to Stuttgart, which is in November, but we're gonna see. Right now, it's hard to get a full gauge of how good I am, and I want to make sure I am ready if I'm gonna, travel to Germany for an event for the first time. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. The next Pokemon video we do is probably going to be more of a tournament vlog style, similar to that I do with Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's a little bit more focused on the game and the gameplay than this quite spread out video. That being said, thank you for watching, and like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.